Charles Andrew Jones II, known in the rap world as Julio Foolio, lived a life marked by the intensity of his career and the constant threat that accompanied it. On the 14th of June 2024, his 26th birthday, it should have been a day of celebration, but in a cruel twist of fate, what began as a party brimming with energy turned into a tragedy that left the hip-hop world in shock. Foolio, who had navigated the Jacksonville, Florida rap scene with cunning and courage, accumulating both successes and enemies in equal measure, was about to face his final and most devastating challenge. Join us to uncover this tragic story. On the morning of the 14th of June, Foolio woke up with the certainty that it would be a special day. The atmosphere was charged with anticipation as the rapper prepared for what promised to be one of the biggest parties of his life. With his unmistakable charisma, Foolio quickly invited his followers to an exclusive pool party at a house rented through Airbnb. 6 o'clock pull-up pool party, he announced on his Instagram story, sparking excitement among his fans. Within hours, the secret location began to fill with friends, fans, and acquaintances, all eager to celebrate with one of Jacksonville's most influential rappers. The house soon became the epicenter of the celebration, overflowing with laughter, music, and the unmistakable sound of water splashing as guests dived into the pool under the warm summer sun. Foolio, typically reserved with alcohol, decided to let loose for the occasion. But amidst the joy, the party attracted unwanted attention. The loud music, the crowd, and the constant noise did not go unnoticed by the neighbors, who eventually called the police to complain about the noise. The authorities arrived swiftly, and what had been a vibrant celebration was abruptly halted. The officers evicted everyone from the Airbnb property, including Foolio. Far from being discouraged by the police intervention, Foolio refused to let the night end there. With unwavering determination, he rallied his friends and the entire party to a nearby Holiday Inn, determined to keep the celebration going at any cost. The change of venue only served to heighten the group's energy. Foolio, always mindful of his social media presence, continued sharing Instagram stories, showing how he and his friends were still enjoying every moment. However, what no one in the group realized was that the decision to move the party would prove to be a fatal mistake, leading them straight into a deadly ambush. As the night wore on, a promoter known as Ari made a suggestion that would alter the course of events. She decided to take Foolio to an event at Club Truth 18 in Tampa, a decision she revealed with a cryptic message on her social media. "Guess who I got to come," accompanied by a devil emoji. Foolio, always eager to keep the party going, accepted the invitation, and together they headed to the club. There, he was greeted with enthusiasm by a crowd eager to see the Jacksonville star in person. The atmosphere at Truth 18 was electric. Videos and photos of Foolio enjoying the event quickly began circulating on social media, showing a man at the peak of his life, surrounded by admirers and friends. It seemed as though the night had returned to its festive course, but danger lurked in the shadows, waiting for the opportune moment to strike. Just quickly, if you're enjoying this video so far, and you want to learn more about true crime cases from the Sunshine State, make sure you consider subscribing to the channel and liking this video. Around 4:40 a.m. on the 15th of June, Foolio and his entourage returned to the Holiday Inn with the intention of continuing the party. But as they arrived in the hotel car park, everything changed in an instant. A car approached silently, and suddenly, bullets began flying in all directions. Foolio, sitting in a vehicle, was hit during the shooting. Another nearby car was also struck by gunfire. The ambush was as swift as it was brutal, leaving everyone present in a state of absolute shock. The Tampa Police Department received a 911 call at 4:40 a.m., reporting a shooting at the hotel located at 11606 McKinley Drive. Upon arrival, officers found two vehicles riddled with bullet holes in the car park. 4 people were injured in the shooting, and one of them, Julio Foolio, was pronounced dead shortly thereafter. The rapper was immediately taken to the hospital, but efforts to save his life were unsuccessful. His death was confirmed shortly after his arrival, plunging his friends, family, and fans into a deep state of disbelief and grief. The night, which began as a celebration, ended in the most tragic way possible, bringing a premature end to the promising career of a young star. The news of Foolio's death quickly spread across social media, plunging the rap world into collective mourning. In addition to the rapper's loss, 3 other people were injured in the shooting. Although their lives were not in danger, the trauma of the experience left deep scars on everyone involved. Immediately after the shooting, Tampa police, in collaboration with the FBI, ATF, and the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, launched an exhaustive investigation. They were determined to identify those responsible and uncover the motive behind the attack. Early theories pointed to a possible connection with rival gangs in Jacksonville, a conflict that Foolio had been closely familiar with for years. The rivalry between the KTA group, with which Foolio was affiliated, and ATK, led by young Ace, was an open secret in Jacksonville's rap scene. This conflict was not limited to insults and song lyrics. It translated into real violence in the streets, and Foolio had been target on multiple occasions. However, his death left more questions than answers. Among the main suspects was Ari, the promoter who had invited Foolio to the event at Truth 18. Some people began to speculate that Ari might have revealed Foolio's location on social media, facilitating the attack. Ari, however, vehemently denied any involvement in the tragedy. In her statements, she claimed that Foolio had attended the event, enjoyed the night, and left without any problems. To defend herself against the accusations, Ari stated on her social media, "If I wanted to spy, I would have just texted the people who wanted to harm him instead of posting it." Despite her insistence on her innocence, public opinion was divided. Some believed her, while others saw her as a key figure in the chain of events that led to the tragedy. Another central figure in the mystery was Mel, a close friend of Foolio who was with him throughout the day. From the party at the Airbnb to the Holiday Inn, Mel accompanied Foolio at every step of his final day. Their relationship was seen as one of trust and loyalty, making the suspicions about his possible involvement even more shocking. Investigations on social media about Mel revealed concerning connections with an individual known as Backstreet, a man with a history of conflicts with Foolio. Backstreet, close to Ace, leader of the rival group ATK, became a key name in the speculations. After Foolio's death, Backstreet posted a message on Instagram that read, "Nice day," followed by a video of Ace that seemed to throw indirect jabs at Foolio. This behavior only fueled theories that Mel might have betrayed his friend by revealing his location to people with lethal intentions. The plot surrounding Foolio's death became a puzzle of betrayals, suspicions, and violence, leaving the Jacksonville community and the rap world searching for answers that, so far, seemed out of reach. Julio Foolio's life was always marked by violence. From the beginning of his rap career, Foolio found himself at the center of a territorial war that transcended music and manifested in the streets of Jacksonville. His association with the KTA group put him in direct conflict with the rival faction ATK, led by Ace. This rivalry was not merely lyrical. It resulted in multiple attempts on his life, turning his daily life into a constant struggle for survival. One of the most notorious incidents in Foolio's life occurred in July 2020, when he was the victim of a shooting in Houston, Texas. Despite being shot, Foolio managed to survive and was taken to the hospital, where, despite being severely injured, he challenged his enemies on Instagram. This response only intensified the rivalry, turning the incident into an emblematic episode of his life, reflecting his courage and recklessness in equal measure. It was not the first time his life was in danger, nor would it be the last. In November 2021, he was attacked again in Jacksonville, and although he was shot in the leg, he survived once more. These attacks not only reinforced Foolio's image as a survivor in a world where few escape unscathed, but also left a deep mark on his psyche. Living under the constant threat of violence affected not only his personal life, but also his career, forcing him to remain in a state of perpetual alertness. Foolio lived with the certainty that his life could end at any moment, adding an extra burden to his already tumultuous existence. Fully aware of the constant danger in his life, Foolio sought protection in voodoo, a spiritual practice deeply rooted in some Florida communities. Unlike physical security, which could only offer limited protection, Foolio believed that voodoo rituals could provide a mystical barrier against the dangers that lurked around him. This spiritual resource became his refuge, an attempt to find comfort and safety in a chaotic and violent world. One of the most striking rituals he performed was sleeping in a coffin, a symbolic act that, according to voodoo tradition, would protect him from death. This act not only reflected his desperation to find safety, but also underscored the intensity of the threat he felt daily. Sleeping in a coffin, such a powerful symbol of death, was a manifestation of his attempt to control his destiny, to challenge death on his own terms. Despite his efforts to protect himself through these rituals, the reality of his life did not change. Violence continued to haunt him, and danger was ever present. Foolio's fate seemed sealed, and his death left a void in the rap community and a sense that, despite everything, no one can escape the consequences of a life steeped in violence. His murder not only marked the end of a promising career, but also served as a grim reminder of the inherent dangers in the lives of many young people in the rap world. Foolio's death was a devastating blow to his friends, family, and fans, who saw him not only as an emerging talent, but as a symbol of resilience in a hostile environment. Foolio's life and tragic death reflect a reality where success in music often comes with a deadly risk. Despite his efforts to survive in an environment where violence was the norm, Foolio became yet another victim of the very violence he had tried to avoid for so long. His death underscores the brutality of a world where fame and danger are inextricably linked, and where success can be as lethal as the conflicts that accompany it. Foolio's legacy, though marred by tragedy, endures in his music and the lesson it leaves behind. His story serves as a reminder of the importance of breaking the cycle of violence that affects so many communities, and the need to find ways to protect those who strive to move forward in a world full of dangers. Through his music and his life, Foolio narrated the harsh reality of his environment, using his platform to speak about the struggles and tragedies he faced. His music, which often addressed the loss of friends and loved ones, resonated with many who had experienced similar hardships, becoming a symbol of resilience in the face of adversity. Meanwhile, investigations into his death continued. Tampa Police Chief Lee Burkaw highlighted the crucial role that surveillance footage played in capturing the suspects. The footage showed those involved following Foolio from one location to another, helping authorities piece together the events that led to his murder. This type of evidence was essential in advancing the investigation and shedding light on those responsible for the crime. To date, authorities have arrested several suspects, including 21-year-olds Isaiah Chance and Alicia Andrews, 18-year-old Sean Gathright, and 30-year-old Rashad Murphy. They all face serious charges, including first-degree murder and conspiracy to commit murder. The search for the last suspect, 27-year-old Davion Murphy, is ongoing. Murphy is believed to have been one of the shooters responsible for Foolio's death, and authorities continue to track his whereabouts, asking for the public's assistance in securing his capture. The identities of the suspects involved in Foolio's murder reveal a troubling landscape of violence and organized crime. Isaiah Chance, Alicia Andrews, and Sean Gathright were recently arrested in Jacksonville, more than a month after the crime. All face the possibility of life imprisonment for their involvement in Foolio's murder. These individuals, described by authorities as urban terrorists, chose a life of crime that ultimately led them to commit such a devastating act of violence. Rashad Murphy, the fourth suspect arrested, was captured following a standoff with law enforcement at an apartment complex in Jacksonville. After hours of negotiations, Murphy surrendered to the police and now faces multiple charges, including first-degree murder and attempted murder. His capture marked a significant breakthrough in the investigation, but the search for Davion Murphy continues, as he remains the last suspect at large. Authorities are determined to bring all those responsible to justice and put an end to the violence that claimed the life of one of Jacksonville's most promising talents. The story of Julio Foolio is a tragic reflection of the dangers that many young people in the rap world face, a scene where success is often intertwined with a deadly risk. As the investigation progresses and more details emerge, Foolio's death remains a somber reminder of the urgent need to address the violence that plagues so many communities. His legacy, though marked by tragedy, endures through his music, leaving a clear lesson: the importance of breaking the cycle of violence and protecting those who strive to carve out a path to success in a world rife with danger. One of the most striking examples of his work is the song "When I See You." From the beginning of the music video, the narrative becomes eerily prophetic, opening with a news report about a shooting that claimed the lives of several young people. They were celebrating one of their birthdays when a car pulled up beside them and began shooting. Although the song addresses everyday violence on the streets, there is something in its tone and story that seems to anticipate Foolio's tragic fate. Were you aware of this case? Leave us your comments about today's video, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel to catch all our content. Until next time.